Giant Mantis Chronicles, a kung fu podcast for warriors, thinkers, and seekers. Here we dive into the art of mastery, the philosophy of movement, and the stories that shape us. Whether you're a martial artist or just curious about the kung fu world, you've found your place. In this episode, Sifu Jeff Hughes explores the intersection of fitness and sports performance in martial arts.
Okay, basically about fitness and martial arts. A long time ago, it was in martial arts. It was just listed as a martial art style, and you knew that martial arts is fitness. Okay, 70s, 80s, most martial arts were. I mean, most people we didn't have an obesity problem, so most people were, after training a little bit, were very strong and very athletic and flexible. But as time went on, especially I would say maybe in the 90s and 2000s, you started seeing more martial arts schools market martial arts and fitness. I did that too. Maybe a lot of it was good for marketing. You see even these gyms nowadays, they offer all these other exercise things besides lifting weights, So, so in the early, say, between the 80s, 90s, and on up, fitness in martial arts changed. Just like in sports, football, baseball, there was a time when people were not doing sports performance training or strength and conditioning. People thought it slowed them down. A lot of people had that mindset in not only professional sports like baseball, football, soccer, but also martial arts. And I think it was an old mindset that some people were not able to let go of. It's like a paradigm. I've always felt like as a martial artist, we should be in the best shape of our life, no matter what age you're at, as you get older, even when you're young, you may have, injuries. You could work around them. Like if you get hurt, make sure your injury doesn't become an old injury. Make sure you get the right therapy and whatnot. So most of the time when they'll get in shape and become a black belt, because it's hard. I mean, it's hard to become a black belt in something you're not going to be in shape. Okay. When you're training, in a really good martial arts system. And then after that, though, people can, start to slow down after they're black belt, or they're a coach. Maybe they're teaching so much, but then they're not training enough, and they can start to get out of shape. But that should not be an option. It's one thing to be a teacher and not be as good a shape as you were when you're younger, but you still should be in really good shape, regardless of how good your skills are, That's how I feel. And then, a lot of my teachers are still especially through the training with Raymond Nelson for all these years. I mean, and Louis Gennaro, my seeing, I mean, they're, in the Ironman, it's like fitness is like, it's like without thought, you should be staying on top of your weight training and your strength training and whatnot. But yes, I don't think they should be separated. And I've had teachers who have gotten, out of shape, but there's, I think it's important too, it's hard not to judge people. I don't think we should judge people because they've been, who knows what they've been through, whether it's, physical, mental, whatnot. But regardless, I try to be an example of, staying in shape, no matter what the age is, because I started when I was like 7 years old. I'm 58 now. And there's been times when I've gotten out of shape because of an injury or, different aspects in life that happen to us. But it's like I tell people, when you're on the path, if you take a step off, it's easier to step back on the path. So you could make a mistake or you can get out of shape a little bit or not training as much. But I think that's why I think it's so important to have a mindset of like you wake up in the morning, get your lifting in right off the bat, get it done, get your fitness training done. And that will really help. I think that'll really help everybody, no matter if you're a teacher or you're martial artist or not. So depending on what someone wants and what their age and their injuries and their past, like what they want when they join the school is going to first be a big factor. So you may have people coming in who want to get in the best shape that they can, but they might not be going out and doing sprints and, doing hurdles, doing hill running. So you may have these people coming in and just doing the martial arts movements, the forms, the stretching, the bag work and mitt work, all that's going to get people in shape. Now, but if you want to get to the next level, like if you want to start competing, you're going to need to start putting in more work. And that's where people will get, most people when they start, they're going to get, like in the Ironmans, we have general strength, we have ancillaries, and Olympic lifting. So general strength is overall the fitness everyone's going to be doing their best at. Okay. And so when you're getting into general strength, that means all the students coming in the door, kids too, they're going to be working on that. And like I say, those who are looking for more fitness, whether it's for their own personal benefit or to compete, most people who are going to start working extra hard in the sports performance training and looking for a coach or having their teacher teach this to them, because it's going to be outside of the regular classes, martial art classes, it's because they want to compete. Whether it's in the BJJ or kickboxing or MMA training. Okay, so that right off the bat is why so many young athletes are, besides getting good at their sport, they have power, speed, or strength and conditioning, sports performance training coaches. So just like in martial arts, you're going to have to be able to, if you're going to be able to throw a kick, or you're going to have to be able to close the distance to take someone down, you're going to have to definitely be explosive. You're going to have to be explosive for takedown defense. Someone comes in to do a single or double leg. If your nervous system isn't fired and your body is not trained to be explosive, your body, it's just going to be dull and you're going to be slow and you're going to be caught. So, because even our general strength training is pretty extensive. So you're going to get into what's called the static stretching, dynamic stretching. You have your warm-ups and your cool-downs, which can be rowing, sometimes for time. And then we have stationary bike work, which we do the HIIT training, high-intensity training. And then we have like jump rope. So we have a lot of these exercises that can be difficult for people at first, but they're going to get strong by doing it in time. And then we have med ball work, some basic dumbbell work, pull-ups, push, a lot of body weight workouts. So, and then we get into the next part of the general strength is referred to as the CrossFit training that I got from Hawaiian Kempo under John Hackelman, which I think is still probably bar none one of the best martial art fitness programs and martial art programs there is. It's a huge part of Iron Mantis. So of course with that training you have a lot of heavy bag work involved as well, and then slam bags, ball slams, wall balls, a lot of the stuff taken from CrossFit, but is specific for martial arts and martial art fighters. So that's a big part of the general strength. And of course, once people start training more and getting more disciplined with their fitness training, they're naturally going to start eating better, sleeping better, making better choices with supplements and nutrition. And then that's where the coaches and the teachers can also further assist the students, But most of it is going to be most of it is, the students are going to start figuring out what they need to do. They're going to realize that they need to eat better. They're going to feel the difference when they eat, foods that are better for them. So a lot of it, just the training itself is going to help the person figure out what they need to do. Some people, they really start enjoying the fitness and like the results, and they'll see other people in the school doing other types of workouts, and they'll ask about it, and that usually will lead them to the ancillary training. And in general, the ancillary training is designed to build up the small muscles and the connective tissue, like making sure that our joints are strong enough and the muscles are strong enough to later do heavier lifting. So it's kind of like taking a year of training in the ancillaries to really get your body way stronger, much stronger, more explosive as well. Like I say, and then building lean muscle. And these programs will get into a lot of dumbbell work, but there's very specific workouts that have a lot of push-pull involved, getting to a lot more of the squats, pull-ups, maybe later weighted pull-ups. So these workouts in general, you'll have an ancillary workout to do, and you'll pretty much do it for around 3 months on average. And then there's 4 ancillaries that we take people through in the Iron Mantis program. And this is the next level. And then it's this level that leads people into doing Olympic lifting. But I think it's very important for people to take their time when they're getting into Olympic lifting, because they really their body needs to be strong enough to do these explosive movements without injuring themselves. Because sometimes people want to go right into, the fancy stuff, let's say, even in martial arts. And it's better to build those basics up to where then you're strong enough to be able to keep building without having problems or your body being unbalanced in some way. That's true because we push ourselves into these, it's like this esoteric training or these extreme practices, specifically because we're martial artists. So it's like let's say, any power speed athlete, baseball, football, soccer, hockey, martial artists, all of us, like the baseball players, of course, are not going to do a lot of overhead stuff because especially the pitchers. But in general, we're all doing the same type of workouts because we got human bodies. Okay. Then you get into here's an example. Whether you're a martial artist, football, baseball, whatever. In the mornings, we're all doing sports performance training together. The same thing: track work, into the gym, and then in the afternoons, we're doing sports specific workouts. Okay, your pitching coach, your tennis coach, whatnot, your martial art lessons. Okay, so now within the martial art realm, though, we need different types of strength because of what we do. Because we're not holding a baseball bat, we're not holding a tennis racket, we're not catching balls, football, baseball, whatever. So those are different sports specific goals. So in martial arts, we need strong, especially in the Mantis style, we need strong grips. And this is with all martial arts. So you need to have a strong grip, strong forearms, strong hands. So that's why we get into things like fingertip push-ups, where they're starting off with all 5 fingers and then work into 1 finger, 1 thumb. And like for myself, I got to the point where I was doing, handstands with, 1 finger, 1 thumb handstands and stuff. So yes, you get to these extreme strengths of what the body can do. And this is very much, like I say, involved around our training, like in the tiger crane system. Yes, you're going to develop your tiger claw too. So you'll be able to, when you grab somebody, you really have them. You want to be able to grab someone and people are going to just feel that grip and know that they've been seized. Know what I'm saying? Or someone grab your wrist and you realize you're not going to be able to get out of it with all those techniques you've learned. You know what I'm saying? Just like when I was doing the Wallam Tantui praying mantis system along with the 7-star praying mantis, there's a lot of lower leg strength. So besides, holding horse stances for up to an hour, but we used to work on like single leg squats, whether they're called pistols or tantuis, and I'd gotten up to doing like 60 on each leg, and then I was doing the pistols on empty Coke cans without crushing them. So a lot of that has to do with balance, really, is how that is. It's more than just strength. You got to have the strength first, but once you have the strength, it allows you to do other feats. Well, but you got to put that work in to be able to be that strong and that balanced. That allows you to do things like the pistols on the empty soda cans and whatnot. But yes, there's a lot of these different feats. When I was heavy into training, praying Mantis style with Sifu Raymond Fogg, with our classes being 3 hours long, we had plenty of time to do everything: fitness, fighting, forms, weapons, everything. And I realized why we did so much fitness when I started doing full contact fighting. And there was times when I was fighting people and I wasn't any better than them or vice versa, but I was able to beat them maybe in the third round just because they gassed out. And so there was times when I won just because I was in better shape, not because I was in better skill. So that's when I really started realizing, okay, there's something more to this. I think that people would not experience that, though, if they weren't actually fighting. If they weren't in combat sports, they're not going to really understand this. And so that's why some of them may not train that hard, because they don't feel like they're going to need it. And they probably don't day to day. Okay. So that was one of my first, eye-opening experience. But then it was later when I started training sports performance with senior coach Lance Hooten, and training with him after several years, I just started experiencing a whole another level of fitness and health. And I was in my late 30s, early 40s all through this time. And I was training alongside a lot of UFC fighters at that time. They were much younger, and baseball players, football players. And I was able to more or less keep up with them. Now, some of them would be, of course, faster in certain areas or whatnot. But overall, I was able to train right alongside them. That's when I started realizing how the sports performance training was in another class, another level than most fitness teachers, especially in martial arts schools. Because you may have someone who's really good at kung fu, but maybe they're not really good at the jiu-jitsu aspect. Or maybe they're good at jiu-jitsu aspect, but they're not really good at the boxing aspect. Or they may be good at, overall MMA training, but they may need a separate sports performance training coach to help them out. There's very few teachers that are well balanced in all those areas: the striking, the takedown, the ground. And of course, you always have people in your network to further help you. But when you start adding in the sports performance training at the high level, at the highest level, professional level, you're going to start seeing people perform way better, whether it's the MMA or the BJJ. And it's proven in the for professional athletes as well. And a lot of this information actually comes down from track and field. It kind of trickles down. Fitness training specifically that comes down through more traditional martial arts is weapons training, classical weapons training, like the staff, the broadsword, straight sword, spear. Then we got the heavy weapons like the hammers and the kwando and whatnot, the horse chopping lance. When I first started training martial arts, kung fu, I was told that these weapons were a form of strength training and that they help your hands in fighting. I didn't really understand it, but after the years went on, I really realized the benefits of it. So even though people say, hey, they're not practical in the sense of weapons, like a gun and knife and all that. Okay, yes, but like a kettlebell or a dumbbell or, training with a bar for Olympic lifting, those are all apparatuses used. It's an apparatus used to in fitness to make ourselves stronger. And I think weapons can fall right into that as well. And that's something and another time we could dive deeper into. The things that involve a type of flexibility, whether it's dynamic flexibility, like throwing kicks in the air and whatnot, but also flexibility, especially like Olympic lifting. Besides, building up strength, you're really building up a high level of flexibility in the body. And there's a lot of fitness training that does that, and specifically for martial artists. So whether we're doing things like what we call side to sides, or doing like low squats, what some people call basement squats, or sometimes when you're shifting from side to side, but you're as low as you can, like these types of movements that are build strength. But it's one thing to drop into the splits, but can you, without using your hands, pop back up to your feet? See, so a lot of times people are flexible, but they can get down into this posture, like the splits or something, but then they could get stuck there. Like they can't, they have to use their hands or whatnot to try to get back up. And so we have these moves where we drop into the splits, but then be able to hop right back to our feet, back into the splits, back to the feet. So it's this type of, the whole range of motion going into the splits and coming out where you're strong, not just like at the beginning and the end. So those types of exercises, I think, are very important for martial arts, especially in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, you're literally sometimes you're tangled up like a knot, like a pretzel. You're upside down, you're twisted, and you still need to be strong and flexible to get out of these. Not just flexible, but strong too. So anyway, I really feel too like the practice of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, especially in the gi, really helps with your strength training, your grips. You learn to, make sure you don't over grip, grabbing too much, but build your hands up in your strength. No gi too, because that's a fast game too, and that's good to develop how to hold people down and whatnot. But I do feel like we have this body conditioning, body hardening, iron arm training, whatnot, iron palm and whatnot, and I feel like training jiu-jitsu, especially in the gi, because it slows things down, that it does build up this type of body strength. Makes you just tougher. So yeah, there's a lot of different types of the fitness training that goes from sports performance training into the traditional martial arts.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Iron Mantis Chronicles. Remember, the path of mastery doesn't end when you leave the mat. It manifests in how you move through the world. Stay sharp, stay humble, and keep seeking. Until next time, keep the spirit of the mantis alive.